Okay, it is May 28th. I'm Will, and we are here for another round of free tarot readings that I'm going to be doing today. Give me just a moment to set up and put some stuff in the chat. And then we will get started. Hi, Mari Jaina. Okay, so let me get my cards ready here. Hi, EB Tarot. I'm going to burn some Palo Santo and do a little shuffling here. I hope you're all doing well today, having a good afternoon or evening or morning, depending on whatever it might be. Hi, B. We're just getting started. Hello to everyone. If you're new here, my name is Will. I'm doing free tarot readings today. I've been doing them all week and will continue to do them. Oh, B has a great question about Palo Santo. How does it compare to incense? Incense is a bit thick sometimes. So I would say Palo Santo is also very thick. The difference, I would say, is with incense, you light like a stick or a cone, and it burns the whole stick or cone. With the Palo Santo, I've lit this, and it's going to burn for a moment while the fire sort of burns away at the wood. But, maybe for another minute or two, and then it's going to stop. And it won't burn anymore unless I decide to light it again. And so you can you have a little more control over how long it's burning and how much. But it is a pretty thick smoke, I'd say. It's not like any lighter or weaker than incense. I would say if you're worried about being overwhelmed, the incense might be better. Like a stick of incense, I find to be the sort of softest way or lightest way of getting like smoke. Yeah. So let me get my list here. And I think Mari Jaina is first. So let me write down that name. And let's see, do I have any other requests in here yet? Let's see, you 1082 has a question in the chat. And then, hi, Jasmine. Jasmine has a question. Okay, so that's enough to get us started. Yes, B, I love scented candles too. I'm kind of addicted to scented candles. I usually burn them in the evening. For me here, it's the afternoon. And this is not a scented candle because since I'm using the Palo Santo overwhelms any smell from like a scented candle. But I do quite enjoy a good scented candle. All right. Oh, EB Tarot, I missed you. My bad, my bad. Let me get you on the list. Let's see. You were right there right after Mari Jaina. So I will put you in right after Mari Jaina. Okay, so Mari Jaina, and I hope I'm not messing your name up too much. Just wanted a general reading for June. Okay, a general reading for June. In that case, I think I'm going to use this deck instead because for general readings, I'd like to pull more cards and I need a smaller deck if I'm going to put more cards on the table. Otherwise, they won't fit very well in the camera frame. Hope everybody's doing well today. Having a nice middle of the week. It's Wednesday, I think. Is that right? I think I've got it right. Okay. And for those of you who might be new here, my name is Will. This is a fairly new channel, YouTube channel. It's just a few months old. And very recently, like within the last week, I've started live streaming. In the past, I was doing pick a card readings and unboxings and deck reviews, mostly stuff like that. But I've started live streaming and I really like it because you guys pick the questions and I read the cards. I don't have to sort of think of questions that you might want answers to, and they're not more general collective readings. They're specific to individuals, and it's just more fun for me. So, all right. So let me just check my list and make sure I've got everything right. And B, I've got you on the list. Okay, so we're doing a general reading for Mari Jaina for June. And so for a general reading, I will pull 9 cards and do a box spread. And that gives me more context to work with when it's a general reading. And so I prefer that. Okay, here we go. General reading for the month of June for Mari Jaina. And let me just say, since I haven't said it in this live stream yet, that when I read tarot, I'm going to tell you what I really truly see in the cards. I'll interpret them to the best of my ability. That means you may not get what you want to hear. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what the cards say. I hope that's what you want to hear, but I don't have any control over what the cards say. I'm just going to read them as best I can. And if there are any predictions, I actually prefer not to say prediction. I prefer to say forecasting, sort of like a weather forecast, right? Because it can change. So, like here, I'm doing a month ahead reading. And so it's not so much predicting exactly what's going to happen. This is more about like what you should be aware of, what you should look for, things you should be prepared to act on, things maybe you should watch out for. But because we all have free will and because nothing is set in stone, things can change, right? So let's see what we have in the cards today. Temperance, 8 of Swords, Justice, 10 of Pentacles, Seven of Wands is at the center. So there might be some stress at the middle of the month, some a little bit of feeling like you have too much to do, too many tasks, and working really hard to maintain the high ground. Two of Cups. So I wonder if you are in a relationship with the Two of Cups. Six Pentacles. Crown of Swords. That's our first court card. And Six of Wands. And Mary Jana says that they are single. Okay. Well, then this will be interesting to think about. Okay, so when we've got a 9-card box spread like this, we look at the center card first because that's telling us sort of what's the central point to make. And it's the Seven of Swords. And so if you can imagine Seven of Wands. And so if you can imagine that you're holding this wand and there's all these other wands sort of coming at you and you have to like beat them off with a stick, that kind of thing. So this is maybe some feelings of a little bit of stressed out, but not totally overburdened, right? It's not like the 10 of Wands where it would say you're burning out, it's too much, it's a burden, you can't handle it. This is saying you can handle it, you just have to keep your balance and keep going, right? So that's kind of the feeling for the month coming up for you. Probably a fair amount of things going on, projects and things like that, tasks, right? But you can handle it. You just have to keep working at it. So let's look at the corners. That'll give us more context to think about. And we've got some major arcana cards up in the corner. We'll start with the top left, Temperance. This is about finding balance. And indeed, Justice is also giving me a bit of that too, although Justice tends to be more about making the right decision about something and taking responsibility for yourself and making the right decision by slowly considering all the possible evidence. If you have had any sense of loss or pain recently, Temperance would also be a card of healing. In the order of the major arcana, Temperance is number 14, and so it comes right after number 13, which is the Death card, which is about a major transformation. And so Temperance is saying now is a good time to recover from or heal from that. And Mary Jana says in the chat that they are divorced. And so maybe this coming month in the summer, June, maybe you'll be able to make some progress sort of recovering, getting over that, right? With Justice, you know, we can also think of like legal battles, court cases, stuff like that. Since you said divorce, like that is now in my mind. I'm thinking about the legal system, but more generally, the Justice card is, as I said, about like using your mind as opposed to your heart or your passion to make the right decision for yourself, something that you know good for you in the long run. With the Six of Wands, we can think about victory. This wreath that's hanging here is symbolizing someone who has accomplished something. They've like won something. They've done something right. And they're getting public recognition for it. Like other people are seeing that they have succeeded in some way. And so with Wands, the first thing I would think of would be this is at work or career, but it isn't necessarily, it doesn't have to be. But anytime I see Wands, I'm often thinking about like some creative project or something you're doing at work. But it could also be with Wands. Wands are related to the element of fire, and that makes me think of like digital media, right? And so it could be something on like social media too. With Six of Pentacles, we've got two sixes in the corners. And so the comment I would make about sixes here is that they tend to be about harmony. And so the context for this month for you is about healing, balance, making good decisions, and finding harmony at work, but also I think in your well-being, including your material life, like with money and energy and time. And 6 would indicate, again, we're seeing scales here. Do you see how often we're seeing images of things where it's about finding a balance? We see it with temperance. We see it with justice. We're going to see it with the 2 cups. We see it with the 6 of Pentacles. So there's a whole lot here that's about finding balance for yourself. With the 6 of Pentacles, we would also think about expanding your own personal sense of well-being, right? So like maybe you are spending a little money to brighten up your living space, right? Or to go out with a friend, maybe like buy a friend dinner, being generous with your money too. That would be another reading here of the 6 of Pentacles. So now what we can do with this spread is look at the columns. And so we'll start with the left, and then that'll be further to the beginning of the month, and then the middle, and then the end of the month. And we can read from the top down. And so we've got the Temperance card here, which makes us think about this sense of healing, finding balance, recovering from something that's hurt you. And it seems like the way to do that is in really practical, material ways. With the 10 of Pentacles, we've got you thinking about your life long term, okay? So the 10 of Pentacles is about thinking ahead, not just 1 month or 1 year even, but like a decade in the future. What can you do now for yourself? Like what seed can you plant for yourself that can grow into 10 Pentacles way off in the distance for you? And so I would relate that to justice here and back to making good decisions for yourself that will benefit you in the long run, right? Pentacles is a very slow suit. They're the slowest suit, in fact. And so it's about thinking about a lot of different, like the long range plan for yourself. So that said, in the middle of the month, we do have the 8 of Swords up here. And this might be a little bit of an obstacle. The 8 of Swords is about kind of feeling stuck, right? If you can think about this candle sort of representing you, and it's surrounded by all of these swords. So this could be some negative thinking or feeling like you don't have power, that you are stuck in your head, and that you're having trouble determining how to get out and move forward, right? And so there may be some of that, and it might be related, well, I think it is related to the 7 of Wands here, meaning there might be some stress, right? So I know that for myself, for example, if I just have too many things to do, like if my to-do list is just too long, then sometimes nothing gets done, right? And so trying your best to stay organized and also realize that some of the obstacles you're going to be up against in the middle of the month have to do with what's in your head. However, we've also got the Crown of Swords here. And, you know, this is the only court card that we're seeing so far. And so my intuition is sort of making me think that this is not you. I think this is maybe somebody else in your life. And I guess it's not just my intuition, it's also where it's placed. You know, it's not in the center of the spread, and it's not in one of the corners. It's sort of down here hiding in the middle. And so the Crown of Swords can be someone, like think of them as someone with some power, some authority, and they've got a sword which can be used to defend, but also to attack, right? Like someone who could potentially cause some trouble for you. And they're sort of sitting down here underneath these 7 wands and these 8 swords. And so um, some of the obstacles you might come across here in the middle of the month may have to do not just with what's in your head. You're not just making problems up. They're not just in your head, but they are actually sort of caused by someone. It could be your ex, as you said in the chat. For sure, it could be your ex. Could be a boss at work. It's someone who like has the power, unfortunately, to potentially cause you some problems. And I don't think they're insurmountable, right? These 2 cards, there could be much worse cards here than an 8 of swords and a 7 of wands. But I think there might be some stuff you might have to deal with that this person is sort of throwing your way. Towards the end of the month, we've got all good things. So I don't think there's any worry that whatever comes up in the middle of the month is going to totally stop your progress. I think you should be very optimistic about how things in the month are going to go. Focus on making those slow, well thought out, evidence-based decisions for yourself so that you can look forward in years and look back and say, I made the right choice for me back then. And then with the 2 of Cups, this card is about 2 people who share a deep connection. So this could be a friend, right? Like if there's a friend of yours, maybe you're going out and having drinks with a friend or something, and getting some time, just the 2 of you, to sort of talk and deepen your friendship. But it often is a card about a new relationship too. So, I don't know if you're like how recent the divorce was, or if you are even thinking about a relationship. But if you were, and that was something that was on your radar, dating again, then I would say this could indicate a little something happening in that realm of your life. But again, as I said, it can just mean a deep connection with a friend as well. I've even sometimes seen it as someone sort of reconnecting with themselves, right? Like if you feel like you've kind of lost yourself, that happens to people sometimes, the 2 of Cups can be sort of re-finding, re-meeting, getting to know again that self from your past that maybe you thought had gone away, right? So that's a pretty decent overview of the month. If we wanted to add anything more, we could just look at the cards in terms of rows, and the top row would be what you're thinking. The middle would be more what you're doing, and the bottom would be things that maybe you're not 100% aware of. And so I would just sort of jump ahead to the bottom row here and point out again this little King of Swords guy, that maybe there's something you're not expecting who might try to cause trouble for you. But also these 2 6s down there would say, like, maybe you're not totally aware of the harmony that is emerging in your life this month. So be on the lookout, not just for a little bit of trouble that's going to happen, but also the way that it actually all turns out to kind of be okay, right? Okay, so let me grab a drink of water. All right. And I see, Mary Jana, that you've asked another question. What is your ex planning? I think I need to lay out more cards for that to see it. And I've already done quite a bit here, and I want to get on to the next person. So if you want, I can put you on the list again to come back to you. But I want to try to be fair to everybody else who's been patiently waiting. But to sort of sum up the reading for you coming up in June, I'd say almost all good things. A lot of moving on and focus on making good decisions for your future. Maybe a couple of bumps in the road, some of which are in your mind, but others I think might be, to some extent, this person might be kind of responsible for them, whether that's your ex or a boss or anyone who's like in a position of authority. It can also be like like jury duty, for example, could come up with there, right? Where it's like the King of Swords is like the judge at the courthouse, that kind of thing. And you know, so it may not necessarily have to do with the ex. It could, but it could also just be like, you know, you get called for jury duty or something like that. Okay, so let me check the chat here and see where we're at. And if anybody is just joining us, my name is Will, and I'm doing free tarot readings. If you'd like a reading, you can request one in the chat. Okay, a while back it looked like Jay asked if they could ask a question. And so, Jay, I can put you on the list. And B, I've got you here. And P is back. Hi, Prob. Good to see you here. Okay, so EB Tarot, you are next. And so let me cross off. And then, Mari Jana, do you want me to put you back on the list? Are you going to stick around for a while? Let me know if I should add you to the list or if you're cool with where we're at now. And then EB Tarot, I don't know if I see your question yet. So if you'd like to pop your question in the chat, I will pull some cards for you. I also see you said that you confirmed that the proposal you got from this guy's family, he was going through a heartbreak, and we'd seen that in the cards. I think it was yesterday. So, okay, here's your question. How is my ex, Shazeb, doing? His current situation with Usra, will they be staying together? Okay. So we've got two people. We've got your ex Shazeb and his current partner Usra, and the question is, are they going to be staying together? So let's take a look. And see what we can find. I'm going to pull 3 cards for this one, and we'll see how clear a picture they paint. Okay, he is your twin flame. It was a painful separation, but now you hear that his new relationship is unstable. So let's see what the cards say. The Chariot. So moving things forward, the Empress. And 4 coins. Okay, so we've got 2 people. right? And so I would read one of them as probably your ex, Shazeb, and the other as his partner, right? She's the Empress here in this situation. The first thing I notice is these figures aren't necessarily super well matched for each other. And I'm talking about the figures on the cards, right? So if we think about the Empress is like the queen of the queens, sort of, right? And then the Chariot, he's the guy down on the ground driving. He's not the emperor, in other words. He's not even a king, right? And so I also think about this person is moving around a lot, driving around a lot, like out in the world, maybe traveling a lot too. And if you notice, they're not looking at each other. They're not totally facing away from one another. They're mostly facing forward, but her eyes are over here and his eyes are over there. So like they're together, but they're not really looking at each other. He's moving around a lot, and she is sitting on her throne. She's known for self-care and being comfortable and creative, that kind of thing. So they're not like totally fighting or anything, but they're not totally seeing eye to eye either. The last card in the spread here is a 4 of coins, and this is all about holding on to what you have to keep things stable, right? Like clinging on to what you've got because it makes things even and stable and secure and safe, right? And so she's looking at these 4 coins like, I want to make my life continue to have a life that is secure and stable and safe and all of very practical, right? So I would read these as saying, even though they're probably having some friction between them, maybe some little arguments, some disagreements with one another, this says probably that they're going to hold on to what they've got because it's the safe thing to do, right? And it doesn't rock the boat. People are less likely to get hurt. It keeps things steady and even. But is it like deep soulmate true love? That would be cups. That would, like, if I saw the 10 of cups here, then I would say it seems like they really love each other, right? Or if I saw the lovers here, or even the 2 of cups here, those would be the kinds of cards, or even like maybe the 6 of cups. Any cups at all, really. But when I see coins, I think, well, it's practical. It makes sense. It's comfortable, right? It keeps the family together. It keeps people happy, and it keeps like with 4 coins, I think of like 4 plates on a dinner table, right? Everybody gets to eat. I think of the square shape of a house with those too, right? And so. Is it a deep, long-lasting love? That's not exactly what I see here, but are they going to break up? I don't really see that either. I see that the tensions they have will just sort of continue because they want to keep things steady and safe, right? Yeah, money-oriented, and yeah, it's about material, practical matters as opposed to like true love kind of matters, right? So how does that sound, EB Tarot? Does that make sense? And while you're responding, I'll just look through the chat and see if I missed. What a lovely day. Hello. Looks like you'd like a reading, so let me add you to the list. And then Nikitha, I'll add you to the list. And Cyan, I can add you to my list. And Marlene 666, I can add you to my list as well. I hope I've got everybody. Okay. Yeah, it is sad if you know, I think it's sad anytime people get together and maybe they have really good reasons. I mean, they probably do, at least, you know, think that they have really good reasons for being together, but it does seem to be more about, in this case, you know, practical matters, money matters, convenience even, than like a deep, long-lasting, emotional, right, kind of connection. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. EB Tarot says things are very uncertain, up in the air. And in my last read, he showed up as the fool trying to come back. And yeah, it could also be that he feels foolish, that he's in a situation where he has to kind of stick it out for practical reasons as opposed to act based on what he really truly feels. The other thing that I would say then with the Chariot is he's got armor on, right? The shoulder pads, and this is all armor that he's wearing. And there's a certain sense of like putting up a defense, but underneath there are some real true feelings in there, but there's this heavy armor on the outside. This card is often associated with the astrological sign of Cancer, the crab. So if you think about a crab and the way that it has like this hard shell on the outside, inside it's very tender, right? And deep and intuitive and emotional and sensitive and soft, but there's this very hard shell on the outside. And so he's showing up here with this very hard shell. I'm glad you are doing well, EB Tarot, even if they are not. All right, so let me see here. We've got U1082, I think, is the next on my list. And yes, Nikitha, I can add you to my list. Great. And U1082 has already posted their question. Wonderful. I will just say, just in case anyone's new or doesn't know, so I'm doing first come, first served, and I'm doing my best to watch the chat while I read so that I'm getting everyone as close in order as I can to what I'm seeing in the chat. And so you will need to wait, right? And so if you have to go away and come back, that's fine. If I get to you and you're not here, then I'll skip over you. And if you come back later, I'll do my best to try to fit you in. So we've got U1082 and then Jasmine, B, J, and then we'll move on down the list from there. Okay, so let me look at the next question from U1082. And the question is, do you see a romantic relationship happening between Anselin and me, Yusra? And if you can please tell me his zodiac sign. Okay, so I can pull 3 cards. I think that's a good place to start here to see if a romantic relationship could happen between Anselin and Yusra. Can I just clarify, is this a friend of yours, or is this someone you admire from afar, or do you already interact with this person, or is it sort of totally someone you don't interact with yet? You work together. Okay. Got it. You work together. Okay, so I'll pull 3 cards to ask about the possibility of a romantic relationship. If there's anything in there that might indicate, like if there's a court card or a major arcana card, I can associate that with a zodiac symbol. So if one comes up and if it seems like that card is pointing to him, then I can figure out for you what the zodiac symbol is. Okay. Okay, Page of Swords. 5 coins. 6 wands. So we do have a court card, Page of Swords. Page of Swords in the system I use isn't associated with a specific zodiac sign. It is associated with the air signs. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but it's not associated with a specific one of those. So the question was, is a romantic relationship sort of in the cards between these two people? And what I would be looking for to give a yes answer to that question would be some cups, right? Or a card like the major arcana, lovers, or even the sun, because that can be a close friendship. Or I would look to see 2 court cards or just 2 cards with human figures on them facing, like looking at one another, right? And so I'm not seeing any of that. And so my first inclination is to say that there's probably not a romantic love relationship on the horizon. What I see is this young person, young or inexperienced. With the pages, it doesn't necessarily mean they're actually young, but it means that there's something they're still in the process of figuring out or learning, right? So like it could be someone who at their job feels like a page, right? As opposed to feeling like the king, because the king would be like the boss, right? And so I'm saying job because you said you work with this person, and so that's the context that's sort of in my mind at the moment for it. And so with the 5 of coins, this would indicate that this person has maybe had some disruption to their material well-being. Like maybe there's a little bit of trouble with money at the moment. If it's not actually money, this can indicate a feeling of, well, being sort of out in the cold or rejected, or like not having all of the things that a person needs to thrive, right? But I think they're working really hard. The 6 of Wands would say they're working really hard and probably working together, collaborating. And so you said you do interact at work, and the 6 of Wands is a card that's all about collaboration, people working together. And so I would sort of be more inclined to think it's more like a work relationship than a romantic one. If I saw some cups, then I would say something different, but I'm seeing all coins and wands, which is all about like working, making money, that kind of stuff, as opposed to, you know, dating, right? And that kind of thing. U1082 says, thanks for your honesty. You're welcome. I like to tell people what they want to hear, but I also think it's not right to just make stuff up. You know, like I could imagine someone looking at these cards and saying something like, oh, I don't know, he's really shy, and so he doesn't want to spend money on you, and this is all about his passion that's just like bubbling up. And I mean, maybe, but I just feel like the cards could be more direct. There are other cards that could land out here that would give a clearer indication of a relationship starting, and like you could maybe stretch it to say one thing if you really wanted to make it say that. But I feel like if the cards want it to say that, then different cards would come up, right? So that's my opinion on the matter, anyways. Okay, so I think maybe not a relationship, but definitely someone that like you could work well with, I would think. Like someone who's open to collaborating at work, and who knows, maybe a year from now, if you work together and that goes well, things can always change, right? Like it's not written in stone. All right, so let's see where we are. I think Jasmine is next. And so let me scroll up and see if we have a question from Jasmine yet. Hi, Jasmine. If you haven't posted your question, feel free to post it in the chat. Here it is. I found it. What did my friendships with Angel Edwards, I'm just come to end. She is a Leo. So is it like, why did your friendship with Angel come to an end? Sounds like that's the question. And so is this is it the kind of thing where like you were friends and then they stopped, like they just ghosted you and stopped hanging out and you just don't know why? That's what I'm thinking, because like, if you had a fight, then you'd know why. But if there was no fight that you're aware of, then it's just like one day this person was a friend and then the next day they won't talk to you and you can't figure out what happened. Like, did you do something or say something, or did they get bad information about you that's not true, and instead of asking you about it like a good friend, they just decided not to talk to you? Or and welcome to anyone who maybe is just joining us. My name is Will. I'm doing free tarot readings today. First come, first served. I'm doing my best to monitor the chat while I'm also shuffling and reading the cards. If you'd like a reading, you can request one in the chat and I will get to you in order of arrival here. Okay, Jasmine says, why did my friendship end? We've been friends since we were children, but once she got her boyfriend, she stopped talking to me and hanging out with me, and she got mad at me when I got into college. Okay. So I'm going to pull 3 cards for that, and we'll see if that gives us a satisfactory answer to the question. She won't text you back at all. Okay, so what is going on? Well, the lovers make their first appearance of the evening. And so my first thought is that maybe she's being a good partner or girlfriend, but being a really bad friend. 2 wands. This is about making plans or making a choice. Like maybe the Lover's card can also be about making a choice. And so when I see these together, I'm thinking about a big choice. Ooh, but then Justice comes up here. So interesting. Well, she felt like she had to choose between you and someone else. And so I'm thinking she felt like she had to choose between you and her boyfriend. I don't know why she couldn't have both of those relationships at once, but you know, you can imagine her sort of stuck in the middle and feeling like I can either have my friend or I can have this new boyfriend, but I can't have both of them at the same time. But I don't think it was an easy choice. The Justice card is about taking a really thinking hard about something before deciding to do it. Think about how slowly the justice system works, right? Someone commits a crime and then it might be months before there's a trial, and then months or years before they actually get punished for it, if they even get punished for it at all, right? And so this is about really weighing possibilities back and forth with these scales, and being unable to decide, eventually being able to make a decision. But with Justice, I also think of taking responsibility or needing to take responsibility. The idea that every action has a consequence, and we all of us have to live with the consequences of our actions and the consequences of other people's actions. And so sometimes when this card comes up, especially at the end of a string of cards like this, I would think like the time may be coming where your friend is realizing the consequences of their actions and maybe will need to reassess whether what they've done in the past with you, sort of giving up their relationship with you, was the right thing, and whether they can take responsibility for that, or decide, in fact, that they have done the wrong thing, right? But there's something weird about I would always think this. Anytime somebody says, I'm going to give up my friend in order to be in a relationship with this other person, I really would question why. There's something weird there, right? Like there's some insecurity that they have, or a secret that they don't want somebody else to know, and it's one thing to be like, well, I'm just really busy with my new boyfriend or girlfriend, and so because I'm spending all my time with them, I don't have time for my friends. That happens all the time, and we're all annoyed when it happens, right? But we can get over that, and because it doesn't last forever, right? And they'll still text us, but it's usually like, sorry, can't, busy, that kind of thing. But it's not totally ghosting, which is sort of what you seem to be saying is happening, Jasmine. So yeah, I mean, there's something fishy there, that she's choosing a boyfriend over a friend and not telling you why. But I would hold out some hope that, like, in the future, I'm saying in the future because it's at the end of the spread, there's a chance here that she's going to look back on this decision and realize it's something she can't live with, that it was the wrong thing to do, right? That it wasn't the just thing, it was the unjust thing to do. And so I think there's some hope that maybe she will reconsider some of her actions in the past. Okay, let me take a peek at the chat and see where we are here. Nomally has asked for a reading. And hi, Cyan. We're still a ways off from you. Next would be B, and then J would be next. So B and then J. What a Lonely Day. I have Nikita on here twice. I'm not sure if that's correct, but Nikita, Cyan, Marlene, and Nomally. Yeah, it'll be a little while. Maybe half an hour or something like that. So B, if you have, Marios and Tarty, I did not add you. My bad. Let me add you. You were before Nomally, so Marios. Thank you for keeping me honest. And Tarty. Okay. All right. So, Jasmine, I'm sorry about your friend. I think she's made the wrong choice, and I think at some point she's going to realize that. I think she already knows it, but she's like, she already knows that she's done the wrong thing in giving up a friend for a boyfriend. But I think it will likely come to a head for her. You know, it's like it's the kind of thing that's weighing on her mind, and if it weighs long enough, or you know, if her new boyfriend and her were to break up, she might come running back to you and then be like, that would be a really rude thing to do, I think, like to treat a friend like that and then come running back to them and say, please comfort me, my boyfriend broke up with me. And you're like, yeah, well, where have you been all this time? So, all right, B has a question about dating life. B says, why am I in a dating drought currently? Okay. Why is B in a dating drought currently? Thanks for the compliment on my cursive. I got a compliment about my handwriting yesterday too. I appreciate that. Okay, why is B in a dating drought? You're welcome, Jasmine. EB Tarot, do you, let's see. Should I add you to the list again? Did I can add you back on, EB, if I have neglected to put you on again. Okay, so B. Why is B in a dating drought? Dating is hard. Dating is the worst, even. I am not dating. I am glad. I don't need to date. At least I hope never to have to date again, because it's rough out there, y'all. It is rough out there. Okay, let's see for B. Why is B in a dating drought? I just turned 39. EB Tarot asked how old I am. I don't mind saying. Yeah, 39 sounds old to me. I don't know how old you are. You know, the whole group of you out there, but okay. 10 swords. So that is, I think here, overthinking things. 3 cups, emotional growth. Oh, okay. Romance fantasy. All right. So a couple things come to mind. Let's try some out and see what we've got here. So 10 of Swords. So this can be betrayal, stabbed in the back, exhausted, like you've been hurt and the wound is still healing. And so that's affecting your ability to date in the current moment. That would be one reading of this card. It could also just mean you're the kind of person who's really good at seeing things from lots of different angles. You think about things before you speak and you can get in your head, right? Instead of just like being in the moment and like going with the flow and doing the thing, whatever the thing is, there can be too much of like planning it out and thinking it through and making sure that it's going to be perfect and all of that. And so those are the first things that come to mind, that either being hurt in the past, being exhausted, tired from dating, or just from the way that people have treated you, or overthinking. Those are the things that come to mind. B says, I think it's being stabbed in the back by 10 men. So that would sure be it, right? This is sometimes if people are asking like about health with this card, I'll say, do you have back pain, right? Because it's like being stabbed in the back. So yeah, maybe being hurt in relationships in the past is affecting how you're approaching relationships in the present. That's the first thing that comes to mind with these 10 swords. With the 3 cups, I think about emotional growth. And so 3, I think, is the number of growth and or expression. And cups are about emotions, feelings, relationships. And so is there some emotional growth that needs to happen? Like, let me see how I can phrase this. Are you able to, do you feel like you're good at expressing your feelings, your emotions to other people? Or do you feel like you get in your head too much about stuff like that? That's one possibility that comes through, is that if you're too much in your head, then expressing what you feel, like what's in your heart, can be harder to do, right? The third thing that comes across is this Knight of Cups figure. And B says, I didn't used to be good at talking about feelings, but I've become much better at it and trying to be better at it still. Okay, that's great. So then in that case, I would read this as maybe you have gone through a certain period of emotional growth and it sounds like you're still working on that, but maybe the people you're meeting who are eligible to date haven't done it. And so it's those guys who need to grow because you've done some growing. And if they haven't, then that's going to cause friction, if that makes sense. The last card here is the Knight of Cups. And so this is all about romance. And so, you know, the question you asked was, why are you in a relationship, a dating drought right now? If you'd asked a question like, am I going to meet my knight in shining armor soon? Seeing this card here would make me say, yes, he's galloping on in, right? But I always read the cards in the context of the specific question that was asked. And so I would read this card as maybe the issue with the Knight of Cups can be he's so romantic, he or she, or like the gender of the person doesn't matter. They are so romantic, but they can kind of get caught up in a fantasy of like, here's what my relationship should be like. Here's what it should look like. Here's how the other person should behave. But it's like not real. It's a beautiful fantasy of how the relationship could be, but it's almost like they're maybe projecting something that's not 100% there. Like it could be expectations are too high. You know, like I can imagine someone who like has a date and then their date doesn't bring them flowers, for example, to take a sort of stereotypical thing. The guy doesn't bring them flowers and they think, oh, well, then I don't want anything to do with him, right? He's not romantic enough for me, right? And so I don't know at all, B, if that fits you. But that's something that comes to mind, is the idea that there's a kind of fantasy, right? The other way it could be is the fantasies disappeared and you need more fantasy, right? I think we all need a little bit of fantasy in our lives. And so it could be also being totally jaded. Like if you've been so hurt by guys in the past, then the sort of feelings of romance and fantasy and moonlit walks on the beach and flowers and chocolate and romantic dinners, if that's all gone away and you don't have any of that, then maybe you need some of it, right? To sort of not be jaded anymore and inject a little bit of that more into your dating life and see if that might make a difference. Okay, B says that was / is 100% me. Had a lot of romance in the past, in love with the fantasy of them, not the reality. Yeah, that can definitely be this person, right? But the emotional growth I think you're doing is addressing some of that, right? Is life isn't like a romance, right? And so, there are romantic times in our lives. We can go on romantic dates and stuff like that, but we also have to recognize how flawed and imperfect people are, and that's usually not very romantic, right? All right, so does that give you some answer to your question about, overthinking? Maybe the emotional growth you're doing is still in process, and maybe other people that you've currently met are not doing that. And so that's causing a mismatch, but then also work on seeing things as they are as opposed to the way they should be, for example, right? Okay, let me look at the chat here and see where we are. Okay. Luminous Starseed. Yes, I can add you. Okay. Yes, B, keep on keeping on. There's a lot of reason for hope seeing the 10 of Swords in the past, right, on the left, and then all cups in the middle and on the right, right? It's like good things on the horizon, right? As opposed to, it's a little scarier when we see this 10 of Swords over on the right, because it means this hard thing is on its way in. But on the left, it's more like it's already happened. And that doesn't mean it didn't hurt, but you can move on from it. So I think we have Jay next. Jay, are you here? Because that was a while ago, I think. And I'll just say, because I don't know that I've said it yet or recently, my name's Will. I'm live streaming free tarot readings, and I'll be doing it all week. What's today? Wednesday. So Thursday. Thursday, I might have a conflict, and so I might have to do it earlier in the day instead of my usual afternoon. But Friday, and I'll probably try to do it on the weekend also. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see when I'm going live, if that interests you and if you'd like to be aware of when I'm doing readings. And so if Jay isn't here, then What a Lovely Day would be next. Okay, let's do a reading for What a Lovely Day. And let me see if you've already posted a question. And if you haven't, feel free to post your question. Yes, Nikitha, you are after What a Lovely Day. Yes. Okay, What a Lovely Day asks, what is my soul's archetype? And so just to clarify, you're asking like for yourself, not like a soulmate, but you're asking for you specifically, right? Okay, cool. Let me shuffle a little bit. And I'm just shuffling off screen, everyone, because it's easier to do it on my lap than it is to do it on the table. Okay, so What a Lovely Day wants to know, what is my soul's archetype? And so I'm going to start with 3 cards, and we'll see what we get from 3 cards. If we get a major arcana or a court card, then I feel like we'll have a good answer to the question. If we don't, then I may want to pull some more cards. Ooh, oh, okay. There's a court card. I don't need to pull more cards. I will pull 2 more because I already said I was going to pull 3, but this popped right out, and so that is, it's the Page of Coins or Pentacles is the card that's come out. So let's just put 2 cards next to it because I said 3, and so we'll see what they add. 3. Okay, cool. So this card is often called like the naturalist, someone who is very into nature, someone who's not afraid to get their hands dirty, someone who's very practical, someone who is what's the word? Is very good at like starting a new project and getting very deeply involved in that project because they want to learn how it works and what it does, and they want to like take it apart and all of this, right? Uh, because it's a page, it means there is a certain kind of innocence and even maybe naivete about this person where they're open and willing to try new things, right? There's not a lot of fear about like, well, what might happen if, or I'm afraid that I won't be able to do that, and all of that kind of stuff. So those are the first ideas that come to mind for me. The naturalist, right? The sort of nature lover kind of person. It can also be a student in the sense that it's like someone who's really good at buckling down and doing the work that needs to get done to like be a student, right? And I think of that interpretation too because we've got the Three of Swords next to the card and next to the page, and some people will read, especially in one of the Rider-Waite Smith decks, they'll read this card in terms of heartbreak. I will sometimes do that, but I think of threes as growth, right? And it's swords, which is the mind. And so for me, this is also the card of learning, right? Growing the mind, learning and growing the mind. And so I would think of that, learning. And over here, we've got the Ace of Coins, which is a perfect match for the Page of Coins, but it's like the little coin in their hand has grown up to be this big, beautiful, giant coin over here on the right because they've learned, right? They've grown it with their mind. So with this, we think of new opportunities. We think of growing your garden, your metaphorical or actual garden, making yourself comfortable, like physically comfortable, someone who's very invested in their own well-being, and someone who is on a path towards determining for themselves what they really truly value, right? Think about coins and what they do. Coins represent value, right? And so this is someone who's growing from small to large, growing their values, so to speak, right? So those are the thoughts that I have with this this little spread that's come up. What does how does that sound? What a lovely day. Does that resonate? Are you someone who enjoys nature? Are you a student? Practical, yes. Practical and let's see. What a lovely day says, thank you. I resonate with it. I'm practical. Cool. Yeah. It's I think of this person as someone who's like, they're like not afraid to get their hands dirty. Do you know what I mean? Like when something needs to get done in their own life or even like to help somebody else, they can buckle down and do it, right? Like they pick up the coin and they go and they use it and they do it. And you love to learn too. Yeah, that makes sense with the Three of Swords. Cool. All right. So wonderful. Page of Swords visits us here. Let's put these back in the deck and pull the list up. You're very welcome. What a lovely day. Happy to read for you. So, Jay, if Jay is here, we skipped Jay. Nikitha is next. And let's see. Experiment C, welcome. I can add you to the list. You will be a ways down. The list has gotten kind of long today, which I am grateful for. My name is Will. I'm doing free tarot readings today, and If you want to see when I will be live streaming, you can subscribe um, so that you'll easily be able to access that. So my list is next we'll do Nikitha, then Cyan, Marlene. I had Nikitha on here twice. I think that was a mistake of mine. Then I can't read my own handwriting. Mario, I think it was. Mario's. Then Nomally, EB Tarot again, Luminous Starseed, and then Experiment C. So Nikitha. Okay. What is going to happen after I confront MH, our vice president, about the way my team is treating me? Okay, interesting. Is this like a sports team or like a team at school, like a debate team or something like that? Sounds like they're not treating you well. Got it. Work team. Of course. Right. That makes sense. Okay. So you work in an office. People that you work with are not treating you the way they ought to be. And you're going to speak with the vice president about it. And you're wondering what is the result of that going to be. Okay, great. So we'll do 3 cards to answer that question. Let me just give these some shuffling. And I'm feeling like I need to do a riffle shuffle. Okay. What is going to happen after Nikitha confronts the vice president about the way the team is treating them? So 5 cups. The Chariot, that's usually success. And 8 swords. So I would read these 5 cups as the team, almost like each of these are little people. Each of these cups are little people, and they're standing around, and there's sort of one in the center who I would kind of read as being you, who's a little bit ostracized from the rest of them, right? Like almost like they're ganging up on the one in the center. And then along comes this Chariot person who sort of drives up. This I would read as being the vice president, right? The person who's sort of in charge, in a position to do something about it, who drives up and says, quit ostracizing this person, right? Don't treat her the way you've been treating her anymore. And what happens next is 8 swords. And so this is about everybody getting very defensive. And so I would think here of people saying things like, we didn't mean it like that. She's misunderstanding. We didn't do anything wrong. I was just standing here. I had nothing to do with it. That kind of stuff, right? And with swords, we can think of communication, words. And so I think they're going to be using their words to sort of try to fight back and get very defensive about it and play it off as like, I didn't see anything happening. Like, I can imagine one person saying, I wasn't even there. I didn't even see it, right? Like, you can't get mad at me. I wasn't even involved. That kind of language is what I can expect. Nikita wants to know, will he warn them strictly? So if I saw like the emperor in the middle here, that's a disciplinarian who says, we're going to have order and you're going to do what I say. I'm going to command you. And that would be a very strict thing, right? With the chariot, it's a little more like I'm driving along and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but like the charioteer doesn't have like a weapon and they're not a king, they're not an emperor. They've got armor on, so they want to protect themselves. So I think the boss, the vice president, is interested in protecting himself too. And notice that he doesn't have the reins. Like, to some extent, these horses are actually in control, right? There aren't any reins up here where the charioteer can like steer. So is it going to be a very strict thing? I kind of am thinking no, that there will be some action. He is going to take action, and it will be like public. People will know that something has happened. It'll be out there, but it's not going to be like a big angry king on a throne telling them bad, wrong punishment, right? If that kind of, well, so Nikita says, so there's no use in confronting him. I don't know that I'd say that. I mean, let's pull 3 more cards. So like they're going to get defensive. Here they are ostracizing you. He comes along and says, stop it. They get all defensive. And then what? Six of Wands is everyone's working together, collaborating. Can also mean following the leader. Ooh. The Death card, a big transformation. And 2 cups. So a big transformation, 5 cups becomes 2. That's almost like some of the people involved in the situation are no longer involved in the situation anymore. There's been a transformation or a transition. And so they're like this card has cut them away, right? So it could be that some of the people who are against you will not be against you anymore, and they'll be working with you instead. Right? Because I always think of 6 of Wands as people working together. Let me look at the chat. They are blaming me for no reason and making me a scapegoat here. A scapegoat. So with the Death card, right, number 13, whenever this comes up, I think of, it means change. That's what it means. Broadly, it means change. Whatever the situation was before, it's not going to be like that anymore. So if you confront the vice president about this, it will change things. Whether it's changing things in your favor or not, I'm inclined to say it would be in your favor, because ending with cups are good. We want cups, right? As opposed to swords. Like if we had 10 of swords down here, or the tower or something, that would be a little scarier. It looks like one of a couple things is going to happen. Some of the people who were ostracizing you won't be ostracizing you anymore, so that it feels more like a collaborative team. It feels more like a partnership, right? And less like people ostracizing you. Another possibility, though, would be that somebody is no longer working there at all, right? That like these 5 cups get cut down to 2, meaning like some of them are like transferred to a different department, or don't even have their job anymore, or some kind of situation like that. Nikita says, I wish my manager is no more in the project. He is so stupid. I'm sorry you have a stupid manager. I mean, if the situation that you are in now is unbearable and untenable, confronting the vice president about it is going to change things. That's what this card is saying. Absolutely, a change is going to come up. I think that they will get defensive. They will try to say they didn't mean it. They didn't see anything wrong, right? They're going to try to work together to at least make it look like things are happy. This card is about, in addition to collaboration, this card is about victory. This is about a bunch of people working together to make good things happen, right? And publicly showing that. And so that's the part where it could be like publicly they're making it look like everything's okay, even if behind the scenes it isn't 100% okay. And the change, I think, is going to result in a feeling of more like a partnership at work, rather than you being ostracized and alone in the middle of a group of co-workers. So I hope that gives some clarity to you. Let me look at the chat. We've got some new folks here, I think. Vani, welcome. If you like Vani, I can add you to the list. The list is getting pretty long, so folks may be waiting for a while. Just FYI. And then YK Lil Corey, I can add you. All right. Okay, you are welcome, Nikita. Yeah, give me an update. I'd like to hear what happens, how it turns out. Okay. So, Cyan, I think you are next. Sounds like you're here. And if Jay is here, we can jump back to Jay because we skipped Jay, but Cyan is next. And then we've got Marlene and then Mario's. All right. What's next for me professionally, Cyan says. All right. Career update. Cool. And can I ask, do you currently have a position? Like, I guess, are you currently employed somewhere That's kind of the idea I'm getting, but maybe you're wondering if you should move to another place, or if there's a promotion, or that kind of thing. Okay, yeah, we can keep it low profile, no worries. I'm just shuffling off camera. Okay, so Cyan, what is next in terms of career, professional growth, development? We'll just start with 3 cards, I think, and see what we see. Okay, 10 swords, 3 cups, and the King of Batons. So if I were going to read these sort of quickly across, I would think maybe you're kind of exhausted with something in your professional life, and so you want to create something else that would be more fulfilling and that might give you more power, like would maybe make you a kind of king in your field or in your career, your profession, whatever that might be. Maybe it's a promotion, or like if it's a business, it would be this would be the kind of person who's like an entrepreneur, right? Who would even consider like starting their own business if it's that kind of situation. So with the 10 of swords, this can be about overthinking things, that your mind is able to see things from every possible angle, and that can be a really great skill. But it can also be totally exhausting and paralyzing, right? You can get into that situation where you're like always considering a different perspective or angle or idea, and so nothing good happens, right? And that can be a problem. With 10s, I also think of conclusion, resolution. It's like the end of one cycle and getting ready to begin a new cycle. And so maybe you feel like you've plateaued in a certain way and you want to start something different, start something new. With the swords, I also think of the mind. And so maybe your current position is very intellectual in this, like maybe you're writing a lot or communicating a lot or having to like use your mind a lot, which again is great, but maybe it's not really emotionally fulfilling. And so that would bring me to the 3 of Cups, which is about, cups are about nourishing us physically, yes, but also like nourishing our souls. So like, do you feel like your current career is nourishing your soul, or is it like you're just using your mind all the time, and it's not like, it doesn't make you feel like, I don't know, you're improving the world or helping humanity or um, making people's lives better or something like that. And so um, that would make me think that maybe you are looking for some promotion or going out on your own or doing something that would give you more power and authority to sort of call the shots and make the decisions and tell other people how things should be, instead of maybe other people are telling you how things should be. So what do you think of that so far, Cyan? Does that ring a bell? What does this make you think? And while you're responding, I'll say hello to anyone who might be new. My name is Will, and I'm live streaming free tarot readings today. And if you are interested in a reading, you can always subscribe to my channel, and you can see then when I'm going to be live streaming. My list is getting pretty long today, but if you're interested in a reading, I can try to get you one. Okay, so sounds like for Cyan, we're close. Maybe there's a feeling of mental, being too mentally taxed, not being emotionally fulfilled by the job, and wanting to make some change to get more power. So let's go ahead and pull 3 more cards and see what does that look like. One big Ace of Cups here. This is about a new beginning that is fulfilling to your soul. That is like, this can be in a love reading. This would be a new relationship potentially, right? Or like a new feeling, a new emotion, feeling something new. Can also represent the home. You can see the way that the or just a building that brings like comfort and happiness, the way that the card is sort of stylized to look like a house. The Chariot. So this would be driving on forward to be successful. Right? Like publicly, other people seeing you like driving around, metaphorically, like doing something good, and maybe being a little envious of your success. The Chariot can also indicate, as I've said earlier when it's come up earlier today, it can be kind of a new endeavor that you're embarking upon, and so you may not feel like you have total control over it. I go back to the detail about the charioteer not actually having any reins to control the horses. So it can sometimes feel a little bit like things are maybe going to get out of hand or go the wrong direction. But they might not, right? Like if you can maintain control forward, then you can be successful. Okay, but then we've got the Page of Coins. So anytime we have a career reading, we're always also thinking about money. And so this is the first card to come up that would have anything to do with money. And the Page of Coins doesn't usually have a lot of money. There are 2 coins here, but they're holding one, and the other one at their feet they may not even notice. And so there'd be a little bit of a warning there about like, don't miss out on opportunities that are sitting right at your feet because you're so focused on this one, you don't realize you've dropped this other one, right? I also notice the comparison of the king, who is at the top of the rank, right? And the page, who's sort of at the bottom of the rank. And so comparing those makes me think of someone who has a whole lot of responsibilities, but who isn't necessarily being paid a wage or an income that is appropriate for everything that they have to oversee and be responsible for and take care of. And so if this were like a promotion or a new job, one thing to think about would be, it seems like it's going to be more fulfilling perhaps, but is it going to pay enough money? That would be a question I would have. Or if it's enough money, is it a fair amount given the responsibilities that are placed upon you? So what do you think, Sayan? Does that resonate? Does that sound plausible? And while Cyan is writing back, let me ask if Marlene is here. Marlene 666, you would be the next person on my list. Hi, Helga. Welcome. My name's Will. I'm doing free tarot readings today. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you'll know when I'm live, after today. And if you'd like me to add you to the list, I can do that. Okay. Cyan wants one more card. Okay, to clarify the money situation. So let's pull one here. Oh, it's the Knight of Coins. So even if the money's not very good to start, it will move forward, right? Right. The page is the lowest rank. The knight is the next above that, who has better access to money. It's still not a king, so it's still not wealth, right? It's still not rich. It's still not everything, but there will be room for growth. And it will be likely that there will be that, even if it doesn't come right at the very beginning. Okay, Helga, I will add you. All right, Cyan, you're very welcome. I wish you all the best of luck in your upcoming career endeavors. And hi, Marlene, and I see your question here. Let me just shuffle a little bit, and then I will pull some cards. And so Marlene says, does my boyfriend see us getting married in a few years? He initially said yes, but now doesn't remember that conversation. He wants me to move out of state to live with him. So you currently are in a long distance relationship, it sounds like. And he conveniently forgot the conversation about getting married. All right. 2 hours away. Oh, okay. So it's not at all close, but it's like you could maybe see each other on weekends or something like that. But it's not like I remember many, many, many years ago, I moved all the way across the country and I was dating someone at the time. And I mean, we could never see each other. That was rough. Okay. All right, let's see. For Marlene, does he see you getting married? Queen of Cups, that is probably you. 2 coins. That can be about balancing things, juggling, making a choice. And there's that Chariot again. This Chariot is stalking this live stream. I think that's like the 3rd time that I've pulled it. Okay, so I would read these 2 cards as the 2 of you as the Queen and your boyfriend as the Chariot. And the Chariot's like a car, right? So I'm seeing him like driving to visit you if he's living out of state, driving around. So what's between you? 2 coins are between you. And so when I see 2 coins, I think about juggling them. I think about I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. Think about a juggler. They're putting on a show, right? Like juggling the balls in the air. So this can mean just like there's so much going on and like trying to work and keep house and drive to visit and all that stuff is just like a lot. And so life feels like a juggle, right? That's one way that we could read this, that there's just a lot of going on. But if I go to the question, marriage, I mean, I don't, from these cards, totally see that. And we asked, what is he thinking, right? So is he thinking that the 2 of you will get married? And I'm seeing more like he's thinking maybe that there's not enough money. That would be 1. 2 coins isn't very many coins. We'd want at least like 4 coins would be stability. And more would be better, right? But so one obstacle here could just be that that he feels like there's not enough money to get married. But if he's like pretending that he forgot a conversation about getting married, or I guess maybe he actually forgot it. But you're like, no, we definitely had that conversation, right? And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. The 2 coins between you make me think of something that's like practical and comfortable, as opposed to deep and romantic, right? Now, it could just be that he's not a super romantic person. Right. And so when I think marriage, I think cups cards, right? Because cups are about emotional fulfillment and getting close to one another and something that's deep, right? And emotional, right? And so in my mind, that's where I go. Other people might think, well, marriage is about financial stability. And if we don't have practical financial stability, then marriage doesn't make sense. And so if that's him, it could be that he just thinks we can't afford to get married right now, right? I could say something similar about wands or swords, but I don't know that it's necessarily relevant since we're not actually seeing those up here on the table. Okay, Marlene says he's a Capricorn with a Taurus moon, very practical. Yeah, so in that case, he's going to be very practical. He's like, for him, marriage is probably going to be more about, does it make sense financially, right? Does it make sense logistically? Does he might be thinking about things like, if we get married, she will have to move in with me. And do I have room for another person to live in my space? Those kinds of concerns might be more like at the forefront of his mind, right? So I mean, I would like you. I'm going to say something that doesn't have anything to do with the cards. Okay. So this is just me. This isn't the cards. So feel free to ignore it. If you're like, I don't want Will's advice, I want to hear what the cards say. Okay. So I don't know if I, I don't know if I'd confront him about it. I think that talking it through makes sense. And I would say that for any couple, I guess, about anything, right? Like if to you marriage is important, right? Then you need to find out from him whether it's important to him too. Because if it's not, then the two of you have a problem because you're valuing something and he's not, right? And whether it's marriage or children or a car or whatever it is, you would both of you want to get on the same page about it. Now, it would be a different case if you think that he's like lying about the fact that you had a conversation about marriage and now he's like not telling the truth. That would be a red flag, right? But if it's more like the two of you are just having a little bit of trouble communicating, then that's something you can work on, right? That's something you can work on. Yeah. So how does that sound? Let's see. He wants me to move in and I make as much money as him. So this could also be combining finances, right? Like you've got a coin and he has a coin. And so combining your finances together. I guess what I'd want to sort of get clear with him is you're here represented by the Queen of Cups, meaning you're interested in a deep emotional connection, right? And he seems to be way more practical. Also with the Chariot, he's got this armor on. And even though he's soft and emotional underneath it, it's really hard to get through that armor, right? And so you're over here with your cup of emotions, and he's over here with some coins with his armor on. And I guess you'd want to make sure that if you're going to talk about getting married, that you're seeing it from the same, like you're seeing things eye to eye, right? That if for him it's a practical consideration that's about money, fine, if you're cool with that. But if you're looking for something else, he needs to know that. And we need to make sure that you two see each other, honestly, and you're looking straight forward at the same thing as opposed to working at cross purposes or something. So how does that sound? It sounds like, let me see if I can answer the question a little more clearly, because I feel like I haven't. And I think the most important thing is to answer the question. And so the question was, does he see you getting married in a couple of years? And so I'd say the answer is potentially yes. And with the sort of caveat that for him, marriage is a very practical, money-based, or not just money, but like material kind of based thing, right? It's about the coins as opposed to the cups, right? So could we do one card to clarify? Yeah, let's just we'll pull one off to the side and ask what it says. Let's ask. You said he's coming to see you this weekend. Let's ask if now, meaning this weekend, is a good time for the two of you to dive into this, right? 8 cups. So couple ways to read that. I think of eights as cards of movement and organization, and cups are emotions, right? So there is the potential for there to be a lot of emotional movement. In other words, it might be an emotional conversation, as I suppose it really should be. And honestly, I'd say if he's the kind of person who you have trouble getting him to open up, maybe getting him to open up, it's going to be, I think, uncomfortable for him. But I think there's optimism there. I'm just thinking. Because the other ways you can read this card are that there's too many people involved. Like if in this situation this weekend, if there's going to be a lot of other people there, then I might say maybe wait. But if it's just the two of you, like if it's just the two of you and it's not a whole bunch of people who could get in the way, then I'd say wait. Otherwise, I'd say it would be a good idea to have that conversation. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck with your boyfriend this weekend. I hope you have a wonderful time together and are able to move things forward. Maybe get him to open up. I will say I'm a Taurus, and so I know how he feels probably. He's a Capricorn, right? So it can be hard for me to open up about my feelings sometimes too. I think I've gotten better at it, but I had to work at it, right? So, Marios, if you're here, I think I've got you next. Cool, Marios is here. So if you haven't posted your question, Marios, go ahead and put it in the chat. And if you have, I'll scroll up and try to find it. And I'm seeing folks. Hi, Ari or Ari. Hi, Kathleen. Welcome. My name is Will, and I'm doing free tarot readings today. My list is pretty long at the moment, and I've been going for about 2 hours. So I think I'm going to pause adding to the list now because I'd hate to add you and then not be able to get to you. But if I can't get to you today, if you subscribe to my channel, you'll be able to see when I am live streaming in the future. And if the folks on my list aren't all here, I could open the list up later. Like if I call 5 names, that happened yesterday where there were like 5 names on the list and they were long gone. And so I was able to do more. So, and let's see. So here, why don't we look at the list? I've got Marios now, and then Nomali, EB Tarot, Luminous Starseed, Experiment C, Vani Mishra, and then YK, Lil Corey, Helga. And so that's why I'm going to stop additions to the list because I don't want to put you on the list and then not get to you. So let's read for Marios. And Mario says, I've had a crush with this girl for a long time, and we both had feelings, but nothing ever happened. Recently, I reached out to her And after a misunderstanding, she blocked me. I didn't make a move when she had strong feelings, so I missed my chance. And when I finally did, she told me she had a boyfriend. But when I learned she didn't, I reached out. And so Marios may still be typing, but it sounds like the question is something like, after she blocked, I've been seeing her everywhere for 2 weeks. So are you wondering what she's feeling about you, or if they're okay, will she ever unblock you? That's the question. Will she ever unblock you? Okay. So let's give these a shuffle. So should we do when I read tarot, and everybody does this differently, so this is maybe sort of unique to me, but I like to work with a specific question because I feel like my answer is more specific when my question is more specific. And so should we do, there's sort of two questions. Will she ever unblock me, or what is she feeling? Should we do the second one? What is she feeling? The second one. All right. So what are her feelings towards Marios? Got it. So we'll lay out 3 cards and see what that gets us. Hi, Experiment C. No worries. Let me just see. We haven't actually gotten to you yet, so you didn't miss anything. You are still on my list, so yeah, you know, these are free readings, and so I'm doing them first come, first serve, and you know, they take at least 10 or 15 minutes each one, and the time adds up. So, you know, if you've got 4 people ahead of you, that could be an hour before I get to you. Okay. And welcome to anyone who might just be joining. My name's Will, and I'm doing free tarot readings. I have the list closed right now, but if you subscribe, then you can see when I'll be live streaming in the future. Okay, so Marios, we've got 9 cups for you here. And the Hierophant, also known as the Pope in some decks, and then a sword. Interesting. So we ask what she's feeling towards you. Okay, so she blocked you, and the 9 of Cups, I would read that as she's sort of sitting back and feeling kind of satisfied, self-satisfied about what she's done, because she knows that it upset you, that she blocked you, and she's sort of, I'm imagining her kind of sitting there with a little smirk, like as if to say, that's what you get, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, you think she blocked you out of immaturity? I would agree. I think it's this kind of like pretending like I'm happy over here on my own, and I'm gonna block you, right? And so with the 9 of Cups, it's often about someone who seems to be very happy and satisfied and everything looks good, but they're actually kind of missing something from their life. Often it's loneliness, right? Like everything looks good, but actually they're missing that one last cup that they need to really be happy. But with the 9 cups, they're all organized and they're sitting one on top of the other and they're arranged in a nice little pattern. And so things look really good, right? But where's that last cup? It's missing. There's still something missing. So I think of someone who appears happy and satisfied, but who has got something that just isn't quite there. With the middle card, a couple ways I can interpret this. Like if you were students together, then these are the two of you sort of running into each other at school, right? If you're not students, or if you're not in some sort of institutional context, like seeing each other at church, for example, that would be another explanation for this. Then this could mean that she is trying to figure out sort of what to do about you, like maybe talking to someone to get advice. She's seeking counsel. She's trying to get advice. She's trying to learn something so that she can act. And the last card we've got is the Ace of Swords. And so this makes me think, well, what do we use swords for? We use swords to fight. It can also, so like one reading of this would be that she's trying to figure out something she could do to sort of poke at you, right? Like irk you, annoy you, that kind of thing, right? Another way of reading the Ace of Swords is to read it as making a decision, because swords have to do with the mind. And so this could be getting a new idea, right? Getting a new idea about you. The fact that we have all of these cups back here do make me think it's almost like the cups were there, but now they've been replaced by other stuff. Almost like it makes me wonder if they could come back again. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? Like all of the cups have turned into a sword. And you can't start a relationship with a sword. And so I guess if I'm going to answer the question as sort of as it's asked, what is she feeling about you? I think she's feeling like self-satisfied that she blocked you, and I don't know that she's planning to unblock. The sword makes me think of blocking, right? Because, the other question you'd asked is whether she's going to unblock you. And with the sword, I'm thinking like, if I saw a cup or like the Lovers or maybe a coin, that would maybe be an exchange of something, then I might think about unblocking. But with the sword, it's like being on the defensive, sort of. And then I think of blocking, which doesn't mean that it wouldn't necessarily change. And I do think, you mentioned you thought that maybe she was being kind of immature in blocking you. And I agreed with that because of the 9 of Cups. I do think maybe there's a little bit of... There's a little hope here in the fact that there's any cups at all. Let me put it that way, right? It's just that right now they're in the past as opposed to the present or the future, right? So how does that sound, Marios? Does that, I guess, maybe confirm what you already thought, or I maybe isn't what you want to hear, but as I've said before on this channel, I think it's important to read what I actually see in the cards as opposed to just telling people sort of what I think they want to hear so that they'll like me, because I don't think long term, I don't think that's a good thing to do. And while we're waiting on a response, Nomali, N-O-M-A-L-Y, Nomali, if you're here, you would be next on my list. Right now, hi, Margaret. Welcome. My name's Will. Right now, I've closed the list because it's gotten so long. But if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see when I'm live streaming in the future. And if people on the list are not here when I call their name, then I might have time to open the list again. And if Nomali's not here, then I'll do another follow-up for EB Tarot. So Mario says, I don't know if it's worth it to wait for her to do something, but thank you. Maybe she expects me to do something, but I'm not. Yeah, I would not wait around hoping that she's going to unblock you. I don't think that is going to be the best option for you, which, obviously everybody has free will and things could totally change in the future. But based on these cards, I wouldn't just wait around on her hoping that she's going to unblock you. I don't think that that's going to be the best use of your time and energy. All right. So I'm not hearing anything from Nomali. So EB Tarot, Noor, I think you said your name was yesterday. I hope I'm not totally messing that up. If you'd like to post a question. And Sexy Gina, hi, I'm Will. I'm doing free tarot readings today. I don't have the list open at the moment because it's gotten pretty long, and I want to make sure that I'll have time to read for everybody. But if you subscribe to the channel, you'll know when I'm live in the future. And if people who are on the list are not here when I call their name, I may be able to open up the list again. And I'm just shuffling off screen, everybody, if you're wondering why you don't see anything there. Okay. So we are asking, do you see a second chance between me and Shazeb? Ooh. The Hermit popped out. So the Hermit is someone who is searching for something. The Hermit can also be lonely, alone, but it's just the first card. So let's see what else comes out. Okay. Oh dear. Well, okay. We've got the Hermit, the Devil, and 2 swords. So, you might know some of what I'm already going to say. I'll say I've got tape on here just because I don't want to violate YouTube's terms of service. That's why the card looks the way that it does. So, you know, the question is there a second chance? And a second chance for like a relationship between these 2 people? And so that's a love question. So I'd want to see lots of cups, maybe the lovers, and or like 2 court cards or cards with figures, human figures on them facing each other, that kind of thing. But we've got the Hermit, which would be someone who's searching for something, but usually on their own, right? The Devil, which would be, well, you know, there's 3 figures. So like one devilish figure between the other 2, getting in the way, perhaps, right? It's not a pairing of 2. It's like a love triangle, I guess you could call it. And then 2 swords, which would be about putting up boundaries. It can also mean an argument. It can mean an impossible choice, like trying to make a decision, but both options don't seem to work, right? So like I know this isn't what you want to hear, but the direct answer to the question would be I don't see it in these cards that come up, right? I see someone searching for something. I see an extra person involved, and I see an impossible choice, a very difficult decision that has to be made, perhaps about leaving it behind or making the choice to move forward. Maybe it's about accepting this devil situation, right? So maybe not the answer you want to hear. And again, you know, I'll say it's always like it can always change. But it's not like giving a big clear green light, if that makes sense. Not at this time, you know, not right now anyways. Yeah, I know that is difficult, right? Especially when it's when you would like things to be different, and it's just not showing up there, at least not right now. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what we've got on the list. Luminous Starseed. I think you are next. If you are here, love and blessings to you too. Be well, EB Tarot. Noor. Luminous Starseed, if you are here. Experiment C, if you are here. And then next would be Vani Misha or Vani Mishra. And then YK Lil Corey, if you are here, you would be next. Seems like a lot of folks have had to take off, which is fine. I get it. Helga would be next. And if Helga's not here either, let me go through the list one more time and let's just make sure that I'm on track. So Jay, way back from earlier, I didn't read for Jay, but I will if Jay's here. Nomali, Luminous Starseed, Experiment C, Vani Mishra, YK Lil Corey, and Helga. If any of you are here, let me know in the chat. And if not, I would open up the list if someone is here and hasn't had a reading today and would like one. Otherwise, maybe we call it a night, and that would be fine. It's been 2.5 hours, so I am satisfied with the number of readings I've done for the day. I enjoyed doing these readings. I love being able to read for people. I know it's not in person, but in a way where we can interact in real time, at least through the chat, because I can get context and feedback, and they can say I'm on the wrong track or this resonates and this doesn't, and all of that, and I like that. Hi, Helga. Okay, we can do a reading for Helga, and then after Helga, I think I'll end for the evening unless someone from the list happens to be here. So Helga, if you'd like to post your question. Helga's question is, do I see love coming in the next 3 months? Okay, so I'm assuming you're single and you'd like to be in a relationship, and so can Helga expect to be in a relationship, a love situation in the next 3 months? I'm glad you put a time limit on it, because that's how I do my my timing questions, is I build the time into the question. Yes, YK Lil Corey, I can see your comments. So after Helga, I will do your reading because you are on the list. And did I see Danielle? Hi, Danielle. I'm sort of finishing up the live stream for today, and so I'm not open. The list is not currently open, but if you subscribe to my channel, you can see when I'm live next. And I'm planning to go live every day this week. And if you're subscribed, you'll be able to see on YouTube when I've got one scheduled and when I'm actually on. And I would be happy to read for you in the future, at a future time. Okay, so we're going to pull 3 cards for Helga to see if we've got a love relationship coming up in the next 3 months. Okay, 6 cups. That's promising. 2 swords. 7 wands. So the 6 cups is promising because cups are about relationships. And on the 6 in this deck, this is a Tarot de Marseille deck, and they form what to me looks kind of like a path, right? Like you can imagine a little figure sort of taking steps along the path of the cups that fulfill them, like taking steps forward in a relationship, that kind of thing. Being in like a emotional harmony and moving forward in your emotional growth and all of that kind of stuff. And so that is really promising. However, another way of thinking about this card is, especially when we read it in terms of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck and system, it tends to mean memories or the past, thinking about happiness, relationships happening in the past, like nostalgia, right? Like remembering an old relationship or memories of how things used to be, that kind of stuff. And with the card on the left side of the spread, which represents past, that's sort of what comes to mind for me, is that there's some thinking about maybe an old relationship, someone you used to date, or someone from like some emotional relationship situation from the past and something going on with that. So that's the first thing that comes to mind when I look at this spread. The 2 swords can be about sort of having to hash it out with someone, like could be an argument or a discussion with someone, but it can also refer to having to make a choice or to having to put up boundaries of some kind. Like maybe there's someone out there who you're interested in or will be interested in, but they've got boundaries put up around them and for any number of reasons, right? But they're like keeping people at a distance. And so it's hard to get in to them. If you think of the way that there's this big, beautiful flower, right? But if you want to get to this big, beautiful flower, you have to get past these 2 curved swords. And that's not impossible, right? It's just 2 swords, but there is a sense of something keeping people out, keeping people away. With the 7 of Wands, we would think here of, I always think of the word struggle with this card, in the sense that it's like you are doing a whole lot and it's hard to keep up with it all. Like there's a whole bunch of things going on, and like you're very busy trying to take care of everything. And so I also think of work with this. So like I'm thinking about someone from the past, either someone from the past coming back, or you just thinking a lot about someone from the past, putting up boundaries around yourself, or that some other person you're around, maybe at work, has boundaries up. Like if there's someone you're interested in and you work with this person, they've got maybe boundaries up around themselves, like they're not letting you in, that kind of thing, right? And then feeling maybe a sense of struggling with passion or desire. That would be the other way to read this card. If there's nothing going on with someone at work, then wands are fire, and fire is passion and desire, right? And so, like, feeling an obstacle, like this could be you feel really passionate about somebody, but they don't seem to feel anything back, right? And so you feel like you're like that's an obstacle for you, right? Like you don't know how to overcome it. But with wands, it would be fire. So it would be really like attraction as opposed to deep emotional connection, right? So does any of that resonate? Does any of that ring true, Helga? And then meanwhile, YK Lil Corey, if you are here and would like to put your question in the chat if you haven't already, I invite you to do that. And then I will read for you when I'm done reading for Helga. And if anyone has recently joined who's new, my name is Will. I've been doing a live stream of free tarot readings today. I'm winding down the live stream now, but if you're interested in a reading in the future, you can subscribe to the channel so that you'll know when I'll be doing live streams. I like to schedule them at least a day in advance. And sometimes I also just pop on without pre-scheduling if I just feel like I want to do a couple of readings for folks. That happens from time to time. So Helga, let me know how it could, Helga says. So you're very welcome, Helga. Yeah, the you know, if there's someone at work or that you're seeing, that person, I guess if I'm going to answer the question in a really straightforward way, I would say unless there is someone from your past who you've already sort of had an emotional connection and you think it's likely that that person could come back into your life, that's the most likely scenario I see for you where there's a relationship happening. If that is not the case, then I think while there could be someone where there's maybe a potential there, they've got these boundaries up. And so I think it's probably not likely that like the two of you would become an item in the next 3 months. Okay. So YK Lil Corey, if you would like to put your question up, I hope I haven't missed it. Corey says, what's coming towards me now? Okay, let's shuffle and see. Corey wants to know what's coming towards me now. So, like, in the current moment, what kind of opportunities, energies, whatever word you want to use, what's coming in for Corey? Helga says, I put up boundaries. Okay. And sometimes that's good, right? We all should know how to put up appropriate, healthy, good boundaries. But if you feel like it's the kind of thing where you're shy and defensive as opposed to putting up healthy boundaries with people, that's different, right? And so it could be struggling with your boundaries, right? The Six of Cups, the Two of Swords, and the Seven of Wands that Helga had out here. I could read that as like struggling with emotional boundaries. The struggle would come from the Seven of Wands, and the emotional would come from the Six of Cups, and the boundaries from the Two of Swords. Okay, so what's coming towards Corey? And welcome to anyone who might have joined recently. My name's Will. I've been doing live tarot readings today for free. I am approaching the end of the live stream, but if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see when I am live in the future. I'll be live tomorrow. I plan to be live every day this week. Tomorrow it might be earlier. I might be doing something with a friend around my regular time, but we haven't nailed down the schedule yet. So, but if you check my channel on YouTube, I will try to, well, I will schedule the live stream in advance, right? So you'll know when it's happening. Okay, what's coming to Corey right now? Eight coins. So this would be about if you have a job, if you're working, this would be about doing professional work, skilled labor, and it's the kind of thing where you're like, it can be repetitive. Some people like that, some people hate that. It can be the kind of thing where, like, if it's repetitive and you hate that, then it might feel monotonous and like, oh, I'm doing this again and I'm really bored, getting bored of doing it over and over, right? The way that every coin just looks the same and they're all stacked up and organized and I'm sick of it. Other people love that. Other people are like, yes, I want every workday to be the same as the workday before that, right? And so you are going to have your own personal reaction to this, but this would be about everything is uniform. There's a uniformity to probably your job, but to something in your life right now. And you might love or hate that. Okay, the Popess. So let's just flip the other card for, oh, good. All right. So I would be tempted to read you, Corey, as the Popess, also known as the High Priestess in some decks. And, you know, regardless of gender, I don't know, you know, like what pronouns you use. I'm going to use she pronouns just because it's the High Priestess, but this could be a person of any gender, right? And so this is someone who's sitting, she's quiet. and she's got a book she's reading. She's intelligent and she has knowledge. And it can sometimes indicate that she knows something that she is not sharing with other people, right? It could be a secret. It could be something that she's sort of deliberately keeping from other people, probably for her own benefit. Like she knows she shouldn't say this, and so she's keeping her mouth shut, and she's good at that. Or it could just be like it's none of their business, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a kind of secret keeping sort of situation. It could just be more like, I know something and other people don't know, and they don't need to know. This is my own little thing, right? It's the kind of thing though where as long as it is good for her to keep that secret or keep that knowledge to herself, she should do it. But if the time ever comes where she realizes that she needs to use her voice and speak out, um, because keeping quiet about this thing is hurting her, then she needs to open her mouth and speak out about it, right? So that's those are the first things that come to mind with the high priestess. So if there's anything in your life where you've been keeping your mouth shut about it because you feel like that's the right thing to do, but now you feel like it's hurting you not talking about it, this would be your message to start talking about that thing. If any of this makes sense for your specific situation. The last card here, the Four of Wands, I think of this as usually something to celebrate. Something good has happened. Like I think of people who've put in a lot of effort, a lot of work to do something, to make something happen, and it's paid off. And like they sent their ships out and their ships came back, and now they get to celebrate that everything went the way that they had hoped that it would go. And there's a little bit of a break there. And people get to get together and be happy and enjoy one another's company, and it's all good stuff like that. If this were around more negative cards, I could also read this as more like a stalemate, like two things have gone as far as they can go and now they're stuck, right? And you could think of the way that this forms an X. But around these cards, which I tend to interpret in more positive, optimistic kind of ways, I'm more inclined to think that we're talking about a happy celebration and a break, as opposed to like a stalemate where people can't move forward anymore and things have plateaued and they're kind of stuck. But if that resonated more with you, we could talk more about it there. So your question was, what is coming towards you right now? And I'd say there's a lot of repetition of the same coming at you, right? With the way things have been, it seems like they're continuing to be that way. You have the ability to speak up about something if you feel like it's time to do that. You also have the wisdom to be quiet if that seems like it's to your best benefit. And I would think that the outcome is likely to be one of like it's going to be well received, right? Like I don't know, I could make up all kinds of little stories about this, like oh, I don't know, a secret about the groom at a wedding, and you're going to the wedding, and you are smart enough to keep your mouth shut about that secret so that everybody can celebrate and that the wedding goes off fine, right? I'm not predicting and saying that that's actually what is going to happen to you, Corey, but I'm just making up like an example kind of story that I could imagine here from this. So does that give you some insight? I would think if you're working really hard and making progress, and learning, and you'll have something to celebrate from it. I guess I didn't emphasize maybe enough that this card, the knowledge part of the high priestess, can be about learning. She's got this book in front of her, symbolizing like she's reading, she's learning, her mind is improving so that she will have knowledge that other people don't have. And then she'll have something to celebrate about with that. Cool. You're very welcome. I enjoyed reading for you, Corey. Sounds like that resonated, so I'm happy about that. So thank you to everybody who was here today and who I was privileged enough to read for. My name's Will, and I'm winding down the live stream today. If you're interested in getting a reading from me in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel so that you will know when I'm going live. I try to schedule the lives in advance so you can check on my channel and see when they'll be coming up. And I think you can set up the notifications where it will like alert you when I've got one scheduled. And so I'd encourage you to do that if you liked my style of reading or are interested in getting another reading from me in the future. But I am going to end the live stream for today. It's been almost 3 hours and it's about dinner time here, and my voice is ready for a break. So I'm going to end, but I hope that you all have a wonderful day or evening or morning, whatever time it might be where you are in the world. And I hope that you're all well and safe and happy. And I look forward to reading the cards for you again or for the first time at some point in the future. Thank you so much. Have a great time. Be safe, be well. Again, I'm Will, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.